there was this idea of like a relationship just by default being something that rendered you quite uncool. I spoke about this podcast I came across where they were talking about, is it lame to have a boyfriend? For British Vogue, I wrote, this piece is having a boyfriend embarrassing now. I know people have reading the headline, they're like, nah, nah, nah. But listen, for this piece, I interviewed a bunch of women. I spoke to them about why they hide their partners on social media, or they like post very inconspicuously about them. You know, some people said it was about privacy and this sort of unique, special privacy that you only afford your romantic partner. A lot of people spoke about the evil eye and this idea that, oh, if I post my partner, then people who are jealous of me will somehow, through their terrible vibes, ruin my relationship. Some people said that they felt as if they were scared to post because what happens when someone comes to them as a woman, or what happens when they break up and they have to, you know, delete all the posts. And there's this whole feeling of like shame of having tried and failed to find love. And then there was a really interesting point that came across both people in relationships and single people. And this idea that like being in a relationship with a man and showcasing it to the world in and of itself was an embarrassing thing to do.
I mean, I don't get it though. I mean, I think, you know, when people say it's an embarrassing thing to do, if you can't post your partner on social media, I mean, I'm not really that type of person that will post my partner on social media every single day. But if you can't post who you're dealing with on social media, then why are you with that person? I mean, it makes no sense. You're with that person, you sleeping with that person, you're going out to dinner with that person, but why is that person not good enough to post on social media?
And that's what I really wanted to get into. There was this idea of there not being a solidarity with other women. There was this idea of like a relationship just by default being something that rendered you quite uncool. I spoke about this podcast I came across where they were talking about, is it lame to have a boyfriend? And they say, you know, when I meet a girl and she has a boyfriend, I automatically just kind of put her in a box or in a category, and I just don't feel as inspired or engaged by her. And then when someone doesn't, I feel like they have so much life and prospect and they are just entertaining and fun, and I kind of feel empowered by their individualism.
So when a woman has a boyfriend, they're boring, they're just out of it, they feel like, oh. But when they don't have a boyfriend, they're single, then they're all vibrant. I'm like, what the hell? Like, why are people so invested if a woman has a boyfriend or a man has a girlfriend? What type of world are we in? I mean, this was no way the thing going on 20 years ago.
But interestingly, the girls talking about this on the podcast, agreeing with this idea that like girls without boyfriends are cool, are also in relationships themselves. And so I was thinking so much about how it is very uncool to be a boyfriend girl. It is very uncool to be a my man person. And I spoke to both just people who are on social, but also content creators and influencers about what happens when they post their partners, right? A lot of them lose a lot of followers, especially if they were already single. And this idea that now you are someone's girlfriend and you're posting about this, it's something that people automatically disengage from. I do it too. If I follow someone because they, I don't know, post their outfits and all of a sudden it's their boyfriend every day, I'm just like mute. I came here for a reason. But this is happening like across the board, and like just culturally, I think a lot of like the days of a man being a prize has really changed. It's really, really, really changed. And obviously this has come from like just the empowerment of single women in general, but also just how the trajectory of men and women are going in completely opposite directions. And now we're having to look at heterosexuality with the political lens that we've looked at other sexualities. And we really have to evaluate, if we are a part of this thing, what does it mean? And so it's a really interesting piece. I think people should go and read it and should go and check it out. And I've also found the backlash to it. You know, I think a lot of women in relationships will say, well, you know, I hate all men apart from my man. He is a feminist and he is a this and he is a that, and I shouldn't feel embarrassed and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, I think we have to be honest with ourselves. If people want to scream like, men are trash, I hate all men, men are trash, I hate all men, and then you shack up with a man and you're like, but not my man though, and someone says that's embarrassing, this is the culture that we've created and we've
Yeah, I mean, you can't one day say, oh, my men are all trash, and then you get with a man and then you're like, my man ain't like that. I mean, I understand that. I mean, I completely understand that. That's like me saying all women are garbage and all women are H's and B's, and then one day I'm posting my girl on social media. You can't have both. You can't have both, though. I totally understand that one, though.
I posted an article saying having a boyfriend is embarrassing. I think for men, this is a wake-up call. To the smart, independent woman, good salary, nice place, we provide no benefit. We are no longer the priority. In fact, we're probably a burden to them. We need to realize having a girlfriend is a privilege, and our duty is to raise them up and make them the most successful version of themselves. That might mean doing the laundry and picking up the dishes. It might mean working harder to support them so they can go back to school. It might mean just focusing on ourselves more to be the best versions of ourselves, to inspire them to want to do the same. I think a healthy relationship involves both people raising each other up to be the best versions of themselves and doing whatever they can to support that person to be able to do that. Right now, I don't think men are doing that. I think men don't really provide a benefit. We need to figure out how to provide that benefit so we are no longer embarrassing.
Yeah, I think men in general, they do that for their woman. I mean, the men who are in healthy relationships, they do that for their woman. I know guys, husbands, boyfriends who are actively supporting their woman in their business. My sister, her husband supports her in her event planning business. He's a big part of her doing her business. He's the one that told her, hey, you like doing this, make it a business, make it an LLC. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of thing that men could do to support their wives. I think a lot of times if a man is not supporting his girl or not, upping her and all that stuff, that's wrong. I mean, as a man, you have to support your girl. As a woman, you have to support your man. If you support each other, that makes the relationship better. But I think in today's climate, there are some guys out there who aren't supporting their woman. Let's say I had a girlfriend and she wanted to go back to school, I would support her going back to school, because at the end of the day, that's going to make our relationship better, because she's going to have a better career, she's going to make more money, and she's going to be able to bring more to the table. You know what I'm saying? The thing is supporting each other. That's the best thing to do. But, like you said, a lot of guys ain't going to do that because they don't know how to do it.
I just got done reading Is Having a Boyfriend Embarrassing? And as a single woman living alone in her 30s, I have thoughts. First of all, I felt like for a long time when I would be in social settings and I would say like, yeah, I'm 33 and I'm single, I would always get these like sad puppy eyes, like poor her, she doesn't have a boyfriend. So I'm so excited that society is finally switching the narrative. And the reason why I'm so excited is not because I think having a boyfriend is embarrassing. I don't think that at all. In fact, I think in a world filled with hate, seeing love is actually refreshing and a beautiful thing every once in a while. But I think it's so exciting because women are finally waking up to the idea that having a boyfriend is basically the least interesting thing about you. Someone who is a great example of this statement is actually Aaliyah's face. That girl has a boyfriend and you will never know. In fact, sometimes I freaking forget because homegirl has so many things going on that her boyfriend is like the least important thing about her, the least interesting thing about her. She is going to Pilates, she's practicing her Spanish, she's running marathons, she's hanging out with her friends, she's taking solo dates, she's traveling somewhere. That girl has so much going on that her boyfriend is not a pedestal, and therefore it's not embarrassing for her to have a boyfriend.
See, this is the thing, man. She does this for a reason. She posts on. This is the thing. Women need to understand these content creators, these people, these influencers, they have boyfriends or they have partners or whatever, but you're not going to see them as much because it's the brand. Their brand is this, and that. Now, will she post an occasional photo of her boyfriend or whatever? Yes, but that's not the most important thing to her. The most important thing to her is not posting her boyfriend on social media. The most important thing to her is building her brand. So if she may post one photo a month or one photo every 3 months of her boyfriend, that's cool. But she's not constantly doing that because, number one, a lot of her people that are following her may be single women, and she doesn't want people to know, oh, I have a boyfriend and stuff like that. And that's cool. That's cool because a lot of people don't want their relationships on social media because social media will attack her for that.
That makes sense. Having a boyfriend isn't embarrassing, it's boring, and it should be. It should be for each and every woman. Having a boyfriend should be the least interesting, most boring, most yawning thing about you. And if it is, you're in the right relationship. Where single women come into play when it comes to this article is that I hope that we are finally going to be looked at with eyes of excitement and not eyes of like pity and sadness when we say that we are single, because the reality is single women are interesting. We are so interesting. We're filled with happiness, with joy. We are filled with hobbies and goals and everything in between. And I believe we can learn so much from single women.
See, this is the problem with society. And I'm going to keep it a buck, man. You should not worry about what society thinks about you. Single women are exciting. Single women are this or single women are that. Okay, cool. But this is the same thing men say. Men say the exact same thing about being single. Oh, I'm living my best life. I'm traveling. I'm getting in the gym. I'm applying pressure. I'm doing all these things to make myself a better man. See, when men say these things, women get upset. Women are like, why don't you do this or why don't you do that? But when women say it, it's empowering. If you're single and you're happy with being single, cool. I'm happy with being single. I can build my brand. I can make sure I'm doing what I'm doing to make sure that I'm being the best man possible. So when I do find a woman, I have everything lined up, ready. Being single is not a death sentence. Being single is something that you need to do in your life to make sure that you're applying the pressure and doing the things that you want to do in life.
Or women decentering men in general. Where this article scares me is when I think of all the single women out there who have been single for years and have done all the solo dates and the traveling and everything, have hit all the goals and want love. Because I'm one of those women. I've been single for over 2 years and I'm not afraid to say my name is Celeste and I want someone to share my life with. But that's the thing, is that at my age, I don't want a boyfriend. I want a partner.
You don't want a boyfriend, you want a partner. Now that you've done everything, you want a partner. I mean, what's a boyfriend? I mean, what's a husband? You just want somebody to travel with? You can travel with your girlfriends, man. Goddamn, boy.
And I don't think women should be shamed for wanting that, because it's a perfectly normal thing to want. It's perfectly okay to want to share a life with someone.
Yes, it is okay to want to share a life with somebody. There are plenty of women out there. There are plenty of men out there that want that special person to spend the rest of their life with, do things with. I'm one of those people. I want a woman to go out there with, spend the rest of my life with, go on vacations together, go on dinner dates together, go to the movies together, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you get tired of doing stuff on your own. But the reason why this article kind of gets to me is because why is it you want the man, you want the partner, but you're shouting out that it's cool to say that boyfriends are embarrassing? It's a double standard. Either you don't want a boyfriend or you want a boyfriend. You want a husband or you don't want a husband. Fellas, folks, let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Just don't sit there. Click on the next video. You won't regret it. I promise you.